One of the things which very often surprises people outside of our industry is the willingness of those inside the industry to share ideas. There are very few other businesses where top practitioners are prepared to share the secrets of their success and the secrets of their working practices with their competitors. So perhaps we're not quite as bad as some sections of the population and some sections of the media would like to think we are. Yesterday and today, we've seen many examples of this sharing, and we're about to see some more. Richard Blundell, as you've just heard, was born into life assurance. His father is past President Keith Blundell, but Richard, in just 5 short years, has carved his own path and has built his own very successful business. His talk is entitled "Stacking the Odds in Your Favor," and that is exactly what he does. To tell you how he does that and to share the secrets of his success, would you please welcome Richard Blundell.
14 years ago, I was 15, a wide-eyed schoolboy sitting in the main auditorium at the Barbican. I heard for the first time about the LIA and something called the $1 Million Round Table. What could it be? As a manically keen historian, Arthurian legend sprang to mind. It was magical to hear about the Round Table. I was determined to learn more. Then I realized it wasn't Camelot, it was life insurance. All who know me well will remember that upon graduating from university, the very last occupation I wanted to pursue was financial services. My father's key role in life was life insurance and pensions. For 22 years, I had been surrounded and immersed in such massively exciting subjects as the Financial Services Act, level playing fields, and disclosure of commission regulation. The last industry I ever wanted to be a part of was this one. One day, I met a giant. Not literally speaking, but my light on the road to Damascus took the form of Clive Holmes, the founder president of this association. I was working as a part-time administration assistant with a small London IFA, earning about £500 per month, when this man appeared with whom I was vaguely familiar, and with an enigmatic grin asked me what I intended to do with the rest of my life. I informed him, most assuredly, whatever I did decide to do, it would not involve pensions, savings plans, and life insurance. 2 hours of conversation later, I was writing up my first month's prospect list, and half an hour after that, I was filling in my application to join the LIA. The date, July the 19th, 1993. Clive, I wonder how many more people in this room have a similar story to tell, and as are eternally grateful for your inspiration, as I am today. I told you on many occasions one day I would stand on the main platform at the LIA Convention, and today, in a way, I have my foot on the first rung of the ladder. Thank you, Clive. The first lesson I learned at my first LIA regional meeting was that this industry, perhaps alone amongst others, was an industry where people share ideas, successes, and dreams. Long may it continue. 5 exciting years have passed, many more ups than downs. Many ideas tried and tested. Some worked, some didn't. The trick? Use and build upon the ones that do. Discard the others. When a strategy works, it will excite and motivate you, drive you forward, fill you with enthusiasm. With good fortune, my career will span many decades. My experience will expand. Today, I talk as a youngster with just 60 months in the industry. As such, It's vital to stack the odds in my favor. I'm an IFA, and I work in London. Our company has 4 partners and 3 consultants. We are mad keen, love the business, and together have a massive quantity of energy and enthusiasm. We have operated a number of key strategies, the most important of which is positioning. What is positioning? Simply stated, positioning is 1, the way you perceive your client, 2, the way your client perceives you, and 3, are you afraid or apprehensive? We have dealt with these issues by our next strategy, working in-house. Perhaps the one significant way in which my company conducts business differently. This, I believe, is the cornerstone of stacking the odds in your favor. The merits of working in-house are considerable. By asking your clients to visit you, you immediately take control of a meeting. Your positioning is excellent, and time management becomes easier to handle. The central goal with my clients is to raise my position to that of a member of the other professions. A client fully expects to visit his solicitor, his accountant, doctor, or dentist at their place of work, and they do. When they are told they have to come and see me, subconsciously I have raised my profile to the same level. If a dentist knocked on your door at 8 o'clock at night and told you he was new to the area, and if you needed your teeth looking at, please give him a call, I wonder what your instinctive reaction about him would be. Poor positioning. Not for 1 second do I believe you should work exclusively in-house, because there are occasions when you're dealing with a board of directors or a large number of potential clients. It may be easier or necessary to visit them. But I do make sure my clients realize I normally work in-house, and in a small way, they're in my debt for me traveling to see them. Next time, I expect them to come and see me. Positioning, positioning, positioning. How does one get one's clients to come to the office? The answer is to ask them. It's very easy. My client base is generally aged 30 to 50, and I write about 20 sales per month. When I started, their income levels were not particularly high. However, one day I realized the necessity to focus on my case size. In order to increase the case size, it was important to deal with higher income bands, and thus I focused on upwardly mobile executives and professionals whose income range is £30,000 to £50,000 per annum. But recently, I've been able to add clients whose incomes are 75 to 100,000 or more. When I started, I could only find people who earned £15,000 to £25,000. I refocused, £25,000 to £40,000. After a while, I refocused again. You see, here was another important strategy, to consistently keep your scale of thinking under review. In our ambition to be viewed by the public as one of the professions, we realized a clever idea would be to model their good ideas. Have you ever noticed, when you go to the doctor, they constantly scribble notes on your file? You can bet they complete a full report after you've gone. We decided we must do this. It's good business management. Next time, we have a reference from which to remember what was discussed last time. People love you to take an interest in them. One good way is to write things down. Regular communication is important, and so 3 times a year we produce a newsletter. Once a year a budget summary, and once a year we pass on tax cards. After each meeting, a client receives a detailed report of his or her current financial position. I know this takes time, but it is really appreciated. We had reason why letters imposed on this industry, but surely it should be normal business practice. If we want to be seen as a professional, we have to be professional. In preparing this talk, I asked one of my partners what he felt was the one single asset we had that made us successful, enabled us to achieve the goals we set. He replied in an instant. The reason was because we deliberately surrounded ourselves with top performers. The four of us love to constantly seek out people who are doing better than us. This keeps our feet on the ground and reminds us we have not yet arrived. We're still learning. Can I ask you all a question? I wonder how many people at this convention you have spoken to who you have never met before. Are you surrounding yourself with the people you work with normally, or are you forming new acquaintances who could lift your aspirations? Last year, Chris, one of my partners, and I were chatting to one of the industry's top performers. We were amazed at just how approachable he was. His production ran into millions. In comparison to his production, ours seemed quite modest. We asked him for some pointers. He said, firstly, positioning, then scale of thinking, but most important, study. You must be competent in your level of knowledge. He agreed to meet us from time to time and has been genuinely pleased to see us grow. As an aside, he works in London and has a similar market to us. 2 years ago, I was sitting next to a young man who introduced himself to me as Ian. Ian explained that he had been in the industry 6 months and had heard that the LIA Convention was the place for him to be. Despite having little money, he bought a ticket, booked himself into the Hyatt Regency, and decided to have a go and see what happened. He asked me what I felt I got from the convention, and for the next 4 hours, we chatted away about our own ideas and dreams. Never had I met someone who understood the business he was in so well after such a short period of time. His problem was he was surrounded by people who did not aspire to achieve. In the intervening years, we became great friends and joined company. Every day he inspires me not to be overtaken by his production, and I know that every day he's chasing me. Great competition, great camaraderie. Don't listen to the little people who are filled with negative thoughts relating their own disasters. Push them away. Switch your ears off. Move your desk close to the people who are writing the most business. Be a sponge. Soak up all the good ideas. Tell yourself one day you will aspire, you will achieve as they do. And when you do, don't sit back. Find someone new to push and inspire you. The Pareto principle, the 80-20 formula, is a golden rule. It has stood the test of time. It applies in commerce and industry, but especially in this business. 80% of our business will come from our top 20% of clients. 20% will come from the bottom 80%. Thus, if Pareto is right, we must grade our clients. By client grading, I mean those good clients, and you know who they are, who regularly turn up for appointments, take their finances seriously, are happy to refer you on, and most importantly, have growth potential. We call our top 20% our gold clients. We devote 80%, not 20%, of our time to them. If you wish to grow, what is the virtue of having 500 to 1,000 clients who regularly cancel meetings, who have no interest in their financial affairs, who have limited or no growth potential, and they view this industry with suspicion? Grading your clients is all about change. On your return to the office, if you wish to change, take an honest look through your client base. And those clients who are neither making you any money nor referring you on to colleagues must be separated from those with growth potential. This is not unrealistic. You will find these people do not want to be contacted by you every 6 months anyway. They will be happy to call as and when they need help, at which time you can give them your all. Keep them informed as part of your regular mailings, but your prime face-to-face time must be invested where there is potential. And so back to positioning. Entertainment features highly on our corporate agenda. This can and does take many forms. A simple example is to go out to dinner. Over dinner and a glass of wine, one has the opportunity to build solid rapport. We regularly organize cocktail parties where on a group basis, all of our clients have an opportunity to meet with each other. We ask them to bring a colleague who they feel would benefit from meeting like-minded people. And frequently, they bring people they always meant to introduce but never did. The evidence of how we entertain are obvious from our waistlines. But for example, for every 5 Nations rugby game in January and February, we hire a pub in Fulham, erect a big television screen, and invite all our clients and their friends. You get to know your clients so much better, and what a way to meet new prospects. Make your gold clients good friends and network them together. Take advantage of catalytic prospecting. For example, sit an IT consultant next to a client who has computer problems and introduce a printer to a client who runs his own business. Get them to do business with each other. All major companies find an entertainment budget for their best clients, and in a small way, we're doing the same. The vast majority of people in this industry are self-employed. They run their own businesses, create their own turnover, and prepare their own accounts. And also, the vast majority of people in this business are one-man bands. I was at a meeting last year when someone commented, when describing this industry, how extraordinary it was that so many people are one-man bands. They suggested a simple market survey. Get the yellow pages and ring up all the companies in small print. And then build a list of companies that don't employ anyone and furthermore never invest any money at all in their future growth. How long do you think it would be before you found one? And yet in this business, the vast majority of people would answer in the affirmative. In other words, it may not be useful to be a one-man company. I realized how important it was to have confidence in myself, to subject myself to the discipline of funding a payroll. Once these bridges had been crossed, the future seemed easier because my time was divided across 2 activities, sales and administration. At point of sale, everyone in this auditorium is worth hundreds of pounds per hour, but in administration, between 5 and 10. The question is, how many hours of your time each week do you invest at 5 or 10? 10 years ago, the $1 Million Round Table carried out a survey of its 25,000 members. 18,000 replied, stating they employed staff. A simple formula emerged. If one's income prior to appointing staff was X, and if the salary of the staff was Y, the average income across the membership after 1 year was X plus 3Y. Everyone moved forward. Therefore, I appointed 2 assistants, we call them paraplanners, whose solitary role is to prepare reports, do research, organize dinners, and order my quotes. Basically anything that costs me 5 or 10 pounds per hour, not hundreds. I write 1 sale every day. My administrative support costs me an average of 2 cases a month. A very small investment. Added to which, all the time they are learning how I conduct my business, taking their exams, and will eventually add their own sales skills to grow my company. In this way, I have added desperately needed new blood to my practice, the next generation, and they are learning and developing in the right culture. You've got to have dreams and goals. You have to study them, prepare for them, then carry them out. Goal planning is a topic for another day. But if you take nothing else away from these 2 days, take this. Have a dream. Make it reality. My dream from early childhood was to play cricket for England. I wanted to be a test batsman, not just an ordinary one. I wanted to be the English Bradman. The one problem, I simply wasn't good enough. Club cricket is all I will ever play. I am still green with envy when I see a young player come into the England team and succeed. It should have been me. Maybe lack of talent wasn't the only reason I never made it. Maybe I didn't practice enough, didn't get fit enough, or I didn't want it to happen enough. The result is, I didn't. Interesting, isn't it? Now I have another dream. Everyone's allowed to dream. I will never be one of the best batsmen the world has ever seen. But I do have an outside chance of being one of the world's top advisors. With added focus and concentration, my chances will improve. This year, I dream about going to the $1 Million Round Table Convention as a member of their top table, the best of the best. And this time, I am practicing, learning, watching, listening. And what is more, I want to do it with my peers, because then I'll have someone to share it with. So if you haven't got a dream, share my one. Let's make Britain the source from where the world's top advisors spring. This industry has matured. Bit by bit, we have pulled ourselves kicking and screaming out of the mire of bad publicity, and now we're back. Don't listen to the critics. They don't count. Remember the words of Theodore Roosevelt in the 1930s, when he was dragging America out of the Depression. It is not the critic that counts. Not the man who points out how the strong man stumbled, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, and who knows, in the end, the triumphs of high achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, the place is here. The time is now. The future is in our hands. Thank you very much.